If you must blink, do it now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to Cinema Savants.
The answer to what is happening to you is here.
Your weekly dose of movie news.
I like this ship. You know, it's exciting.
Movie reviews.
Wait, that's not a monster. That's a man wearing shoulder pads.
And all those rumor kind of things that keep popping up.
The only thing we don't have a god for is premature ejaculation. But I hear that that's coming quickly.
Here's your host.
Look at me, I didn't invite them.
Todd Vandenberg.
If I'm not me, who the hell am I?
And Rob Steele.
I can't speak for the other guys, but I'm in it for the money. I don't care if you go to jail.
That boy's about as sharp as a bowling ball.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
All I ask is a tall ship and a star to sail her by. All aboard, everybody.
I'm going to be a little picky and ask for just a little bit more. Functioning computer systems would be nice this week.
That would be nice.
It's just a thing we're going through. Todd's computer rebooted 8 times on the way into the show. I usually get in here through Google, and Google's talk services are down because it's pain in the ass time. It doesn't matter. Welcome to another episode of Cinema Savants. That's Todd Vandenberg over there, the guy sitting with the computer, and I am still Marion C. Cooper because we didn't get to that last week.
And we can get to it. We can get to it now.
Woo! Let's get to it. Right now, because I know you're wondering, Rob, who the hell is Marion C. Cooper? Marion C. Cooper was a guy who was an aviator in the U.S. Air Force, which is very cool, but he was also a screenwriter and a film director. And he created a character that sounds like... No, it's not The Undertaker.
It's The Undertaker.
It could be. There's probably an Undertaker in that movie at some point. Created a character named Kong, which sounds like the bell. So there we go.
Yeah.
And seeing as this is more... monster movies are not exactly my forte, so I'm going to turn this review over to the other large hairy beast on the show. No, wait, I'm the large hairy beast on the show. I'm going to turn this over to Todd, who's more into the monster movies. I'm the large hairy beast of the show. So,
but did you not enjoy Kong Skull Island?
I did, as much as I've enjoyed probably more than most other monster movies,
which you don't like. I enjoy monster movies, and by monster movies we mean the classic monster, not like, ooh, this person is going to hack me to pieces with a machete. We mean monsters, Kong, Godzilla, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah, Kong Skull Island I thought was an excellent movie. I don't want to call it a reboot, relaunch, whatever. The thing's been done lots of times, but I thought it was very, very good.
It's a relaunch of a reboot. Yeah,
exactly. And it's the second step in a ploy that eventually will have King Kong facing off versus Godzilla. It was a fun movie.
There's a date.
There you go. It's the way I think of movies is do they achieve what they're supposed to achieve? You're not going to compare Kong Skull Island to something like Fences. They're not the same kind of thing. But did the filmmakers achieve what they wanted to do, which is just do some popcorn entertainment and make people go, ooh, ah, and leave the theater happy with Kong Skull Island? And I think they absolutely did. So as far as that goes, for what it's intended, I thought it was very successful. Kong himself looks good. Kong is in the film quite a bit compared to...
As opposed to Godzilla.
Exactly, because some people were very upset that Godzilla was not in Godzilla quite a bit, which
like me
actually kind of goes with the Godzilla films. Usually, other than the bad rubber suit Godzilla movies, and by bad I mean just campy and goofy. He typically is not in the movies that much anyway.
My complaint about those was, with the last one, which when was that? 2014 or something.
Right,
even
2014.
The scenes that he was supposed to be in, you couldn't see him because someone forgot to turn some lights on.
It was very dark. Quite true.
No. My bedroom at night with my eyes closed is dark. This was beyond that.
Rob, did you go to one of those theaters where they save money and they cut off one of the bulbs? Is that what's going on?
I don't know that they had a bulb to cut off. It was, you could hear sound effects, and every so often, ooh, look, tracer rounds. But there was.
There
was
are
nothing
a lot
on the
of,
screen.
There are a lot of night scenes. That's true. Which is hopefully they'll have a little bit more of a budget and make better decisions the next time around. I really like
during the day.
I really did enjoy the Godzilla film, the American one that just came out 2014 more than you did, but that's okay. That's besides the point. Kong was a lot of fun. John C. Reilly, to me, easily the best part of the movie. Absolutely the best part. Comic relief is helpful in these kinds of films, and he's a great character, but he does add some depth to it. So he's not just there to be funny, although he is hilarious. Had lots of action, had great scenes. I love the fact that they put in a little bit of just a teaser saying, oh, well, Kong's growing, because Kong, compared to the size of Godzilla, wouldn't be much of a match if you stood them next to each other. But I like the fact that they made a point of the fact, well, Kong's just growing. The other monsters were very cool that they had in Kong Skull Island, some original work. I just like the fact that they had a giant muskox. I mean, that was just out of left field. And
is that what that was?
It kind of grounded it, because that was like a realistic creature, and yet it was, I don't know, maybe 100 feet long, 60
Something
feet
like
high
that.
at the shoulder. It was very, very cool, very fun. Good acting. Hiddleston is excellent. Although for a tracker, he didn't do a lot of tracking until like 3/4 of the way through the movie, so it's kind of odd. Some of the characters were like that. That's the one thing that did bug me about the movie. Brie Larson, who is a very, very good actress, won the Academy Award for Best Actress the previous year for Room, and great movie, and she's great in that. She plays a photojournalist. I take more pictures when I don't have my camera with me than this photojournalist did in the movie. All this wonderful stuff is going on, and literally there are times when sometimes she holds the camera, because the director said, oh, you probably should be holding a camera because you're supposed to be a photojournalist. And I think she takes 12 pictures in the movie. She's a photojournalist. It's like, has nothing to do with the actress, has everything to do with the direction and the screenwriting. It was just kind of like, that was kind of an odd glitch to me that kind of reminded me that, I'm watching a movie because this is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. So, but that's so minor. That is so minor. The movie is very fun. It's a great popcorn flick. And
well, they kept
glitches,
cutting out the selfie scenes.
Talking about glitches, I do want to talk about a certain trailer you mentioned last week, because I saw it and you were dead on about taking you out of the moment. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Your thoughts on Kong, sir, were?
It was a fun movie. I enjoyed. I mean, monster movies are still not my thing, because I don't know. I just never really got into the whole look at the big monster that's going to step on everything and we'll shoot tanks at it and whatever. And it just never clicked with me, because to me it was just the fact that the monster exists in that size has. It just throws my sense of disbelief. It says the guy who loves Star Wars movies that have so many made-up physics in them.
Says the guy who still marks out for The Undertaker. But
exactly. I watch professional wrestling, and I look at these movies and usually go, no, I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I totally know what you're saying.
But for what it was, I thought it was a good movie. It was fun. It was not. It's not going to win any Oscars. At least I wouldn't think it is. Well, not like the best actor or best film. Maybe special effects. We'll have to see, because there's a lot of other movies coming out this summer that are going to have good special effects in them. But yeah, for what it was, with the monster movie, okay, I'm there with that. Not bad.
Yeah,
keep it
very
up.
entertaining.
Yes, which is the point of a movie. I mean, a lot of people want to go. The Oscar movies are all. I'm not going to say all. I can't say all anymore. But a majority of them are, look at this tragic scene, and you will leave the movie theater weeping as you have never wept before. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to a movie theater and have fun. Come out going, damn, that was cool. Let's go see it again. Instead of, oh, all the characters are dead. No, I don't want to see that. I want to go see happy, good movies, and this qualified. I don't think it's going. It's not going to be the best movie of the year, but it's a good movie. So yes, go see it. 'Tis fun.
When Lee hears you diss Ironweed, his favorite film, he will cry.
Dear.
He will weep copiously. Yeah, exactly. It does what it's supposed to do. It entertains you. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely go see Kong Skull Island. And
yes,
there's absolutely every reason to look forward to the next movie in the sequence, which I think it will be another Kong sequel, won't it? Before the Godzilla meetup? I'm not sure if that's correct.
The last I heard was the next one is going to be the Godzilla Kong movie. Godzilla v. Kong, kind of like Batman v. Superman, only on a bigger scale.
I think they should stretch it out. I think that's a mistake on their part. I think they're going. I
read another one in there though.
Yeah, I think they're going too soon with that. They should do another Godzilla and another Kong, and then have them meet. To me, it's kind of like doing what DC did. Is like, let's do a couple and let's jump into the Justice League instead of, well, actually
building it up more.
If a couple of their movies had been better to begin with, wouldn't have been a problem jumping into Justice League. But that's besides the point. We're not talking about that today. So anyway,
I do have a Superman thing, but we're going to get to that later. You want to go into our weird news segment that has a new name?
I love the new name.
You like the new name?
I like the new name.
We renamed it just before the show because I have a sound effect for it. It's a stinger to introduce the good, the bad, and the confusing. I think that fits. It works. So anyway, good news from this week, and I've actually got two. And one of them is a bit odd. There's apparently going to be a gap between DC Comics movies because Justice League comes out in November, and the next film they have scheduled is Aquaman in December of 2018. So, big 13-month gap. What can we fill it with? And I like what they've said. We're not filling it with anything. So don't expect the Batman movie in 2018, which we shouldn't because they'd have to rush to get it out. Take your time and make sure you do it right. That looks like where they're going with this, and I like that idea.
They need to get
Agree?
it right.
Disagree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They need to get it right. And Batman has been pushed back a couple times already. So, yeah. By the time they finally do the Batman movie, I wouldn't be surprised if Affleck decides not to play Batman and decides to direct it again after all, because it's getting pushed back so much. And they've had a lot of problems with their slate, getting new directors for a lot of their films. Yeah. So they need to get it right. They need to stop releasing movies that are at best okay. And I mean, at worst, I liked The Dark Knight Rises, but probably more than a lot of people. So it doesn't start with Man of Steel. It starts with that for a lot of people, the missteps.
Right.
So
to me, that one didn't work because the DC universe has got more than just Batman. And for Bane to take over, and there's no spoilers in this. The movie came out 8 years ago now. So if you haven't seen it by now, tough. It's on TNT a lot. Watch it sometime. Bane has taken over the city, and the rest of the entire DC universe, who at some point should be going, shouldn't Batman be taking care of Gotham? No, we've got 8 Green Lanterns on the planet. We've got Superman, the Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow. Does anyone else show up? No. That's what my biggest problem with that movie was.
Well, to be fair to DC, the way they've set this up, and I hate being fair to DC, not to the comics, but to the movie verse, and this is in retrospect because this is long after the fact, but as they set it up in Batman v Superman, it just sounds so stupid to say that, but Superman arrived long after, 10 years after, because Batman's been Batman for a long time. in this. Of course, it doesn't really go into the whole thing about how equipping Batman entirely and went to Paris, but that's besides the point. So Batman has not been Batman for...
These are separate universes, though.
Yeah. Well, which is another problem for DC, frankly. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no reason to think, because that's in retrospect. Back then, there should have been some other characters. So, yeah. There are issues with the film. Like I said, I like it better than probably most people. But the point is that the issues didn't even start just with Man of Steel. It started back with the holy grail of DC directors, Christopher Nolan, because The Dark Knight was so amazingly good, and it is. But so they need to get their crap together. And so taking a little time and not just shoehorning some film in just to have a release date, a very smart move for Warner's at this point, surprisingly.
Now, the other side of the comic universe would be Marvel, who has the other good news this week, as far as I'm concerned, and that is the release of Iron Fist on Netflix, which I'm not as far into it as Todd is, because your kids are grown and out of the house and mine aren't yet. That would be my guess. I'm enjoying what I've seen. Despite there have been a lot of critics who have said, we don't think it's as good as the other ones. And the star of the show, Finn Jones, who plays Danny Rand, who is Iron Fist, has said, and let me see if I can find my quote here. Here it is, quote, "What I will say is that these shows are not made for critics. They are first and foremost made for fans." So he's waiting to see what the fans say about it. And as a fan, I'm going to say I like what I've seen so far. How about you?
I will say that I think it is the weakest of the Netflix Marvel series. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I do like it.
But
I'm about halfway through episode 7 now. So halfway through episode 8. So I have gotten past the initial 6 episodes were released before it hit Netflix for binging. So everyone was all the critics were basing it on those first 6 episodes, didn't include the last 7 initially. It's gotten ripped. I mean, it's not, some of the reviews are saying, like you said, well, it's not the best, or, it doesn't measure up. And I agree, it doesn't measure up. The bar is incredibly high. It's not that, this is a crap series. There are a lot of reviews that say it's crap, that it's other crap. Right now, IMDb, the rating is 8.2 out of 10. That's really, really high. So,
oh, darn.
There's not a groundswell of people who are rushing. That's out of almost 12,000 votes. So it looks like the fans like it. I do have a couple problems with the series, and it's no spoilers because you've already seen him fight. If you've seen the trailers, you've seen Danny Rand, Iron Fist fight. So no spoilers at all. For a master of martial arts, he's kind of slow and not very graceful. I'm not sure.
I think that might be kind of a nod to Kung Fu.
No.
Which
I would hope it is. I mean, some of it is, some of his movements are, but he's slow. He is freaking slow. And frankly, there's no way Iron Fist could take Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage in a fight. No way. Not the way they portrayed him. So that bothers me about it. The actor, I like the actor. The supporting roles, they'll develop more as you watch more. The character of Ward, the character of Joy. Ward and Joy are his best childhood friends, and there's a lot of conflict between them because Danny is coming back. Again, not exactly a spoiler. You find this out like in the first 15 minutes of the first episode. He's been gone a long time. Everybody thought he was dead, and now he's back after like 15 years. So they don't believe him at first. Ward is an awesome character. He gets better and better as it goes along. So the supporting cast is really, really cool. I'm not thrilled with the choice of Finn Jones strictly because it doesn't look like Daredevil fights better. The way it's shot, the way it's filmed. I have a hard time. And plus, he's angry. He's really angry. And I don't recall, I didn't read the Iron Fist character that much. But for a guy who was with monks for 10 years, he has a lot of freaking unresolved anger issues. I mean, it's a theme. And it just seems odd. It doesn't seem like it would fit that character. So I do have issues with it, but I am definitely going to continue watching it. It sounds like I don't like it, and I do like it quite a bit. I mean, like time after time I was looking forward to, and I cut it off after half an hour of the second episode and not watching it anymore because they made some really stupid choices, and I don't have the time to waste on that. The Iron Fist, the one thing I'm hoping to is like Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The first season got a little weak, and then it really picked up, at least for me, and well, for most people, it got much better as it went along. And I'm hoping Iron Fist will do the same, that it will really hit its stride in the later episodes. I definitely recommend seeing it, with the caveat that, for me, it is the least successful of the Marvel shows. But, like I said, it's a really high bar. I mean, I would have been astounded if this had been better than Luke Cage. I really didn't know how they were going to be able to do that. And for me, they haven't done that. But it's still enjoyable. It's still fun. I don't think it's an ill-conceived, poorly written disaster, which is one of the reviews. So,
I'll agree with you.
It's getting ripped, and I think that's very unfair. Like I said, I think there are things they could have done better, but it is not a disaster by any stretch of the imagination. And again, the supporting characters, and a lot of times that's what a series really depends on. The supporting characters are awesome in this. They're a lot of fun.
Speaking of things that are not as good as they could be, there's a number of things that fell into the bad category this week.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Trump administration. Anyway, go ahead.
That too. I'm not even going to go there. That's for tomorrow's show, and I'll get to that later. Let's see. Apparently, these people who wrote the recent Tarzan movie, which was not bad, are going to be writing the Suicide Squad 2 movie, which doesn't need to happen.
Yeah. No.
Let's scrap that. And while we're still in the DC universe, very briefly, this week we are treated to the musical Flash episode. And by treated,
finally.
I mean subjected to. I've seen the trailer, and it looks like I'm going to be skipping an episode. It just it doesn't look good. But that's not the only thing, because there's more stuff. Oh, look at this stuff. There's Sony. Wait. Yes, but wait, there's more. Now, for only $9.95, Sony will be making a Venom movie that has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Because they own the property, and apparently they want to screw up Marvel as much as they possibly can. If you don't know Venom, Venom is like the anti-Spider-Man. And I'll leave it at that. If you know who he is, I know who he is. And if you don't, look him up and you'll get it. It's a Spider-Man character. Venom was Spider-Man for a little while. Technically, kind of. Read the books. And Sony just wants to make money. That's all they're doing with this. There is no reason to make a Venom movie if it is unrelated to Spider-Man. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Venom basically exists to kill Spider-Man. So, and I know later on he became a good guy and blah, blah, but whatever. That's not what people expect from a Venom movie. So, a Venom movie without Spider-Man. Yeah.
And it's kind of like a Butch Cassidy movie without the Sundance Kid. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Neither does my heart. Neither does the relaunch or reboot or remake or rehashing or regurgitation is more likely of the Matrix franchise, where the Warner Brothers has said, yes, we're going to be doing a new Matrix movie, but it's not a reboot, it's not a sequel. Well, then what the hell is it? There's talk of getting Michael B. Jordan, which just sounds like I understand he is trying to distance himself from the basketball player of the same name, and yet Michael B. Jordan just doesn't work for me as I know that probably really is your middle initial, but pick a different one because it just makes you sound like you don't know English as well. They want him to be Morpheus, which is confusing, so I guess it's a prequel. the Wojciechowskis or what were they? The Wachowski brothers, who are not brothers anymore. One's a sister. Whatever. They're not involved. Yeah, the Wachowski families things. But they're not going to be involved. And there was a tweet, because that's how people talk these days, from Zach Penn, who is allegedly writing this movie. He says, in his quote, "Do I want to see more movies set in the universe of The Matrix? Yes, because it's a brilliant idea that generates great stories. Look at what people are doing with the X-Men universe. Between Logan, Legion, and Deadpool, does anybody want them to stop? Yes, actually, I would love them to stop screwing these stories up." See, that's my segue into the, look, there's X-Men TV news, where they have finally cast a character from the books in the TV series. What a concept. Yeah, I know. The first one so far. And you know which character they picked? Ready? Thunderbird. He's going to be played by Blair Redford, who is from The Young and the Restless. Fine. If you don't know the character of Thunderbird, tragic character in that he was in the comics for a whopping 2.5 issues before they killed him. And he was in those 2.5 issues back in 1972, I think it was.
That's solid.
Wow. That's the character you're going to pick. I will say this. The guy who's playing him is a lot closer to looking and having the physical attributes of the character Thunderbird than when they had Warpath in the movies, who is Thunderbird's little brother, played by Boo Boo. That's his name. I didn't name him. Warpath Boo Boo, which is very different than Honey Boo Boo, but probably not by much, because I think Honey Boo Boo might have been a better choice for the character. So, moving on to that's my bad news of the week.
Thank God. The X-Men. Wow.
It's not good.
No.
But I do have some confusing news. So there's the director of the new Thor movie Ragnarok, which comes out in, I think it's November.
I believe you're correct.
I am going to utterly butcher the director's name, and I apologize for that. I have not heard anyone pronounce it. I've only seen it written. Taika Waititi. And if I mispronounced that, I apologize. But he said that he was heavily influenced by a movie called Big Trouble in Little China, which I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because Big Trouble in Little China was actually a really good action movie that had a lot of humor in it. And I can see where basically the buddy movie that this Thor movie is supposed to be with Hulk and Thor, it could be a Big Trouble in Little China kind of thing, because as we remember from Big Trouble in Little China, Miao Yen, she has green eyes, and Gracie Law has green eyes, and Hulk has green everything. So it could work, right?
It could work. And it totally will work. Okay. I that's one of my favorite movies ever. It's like my ex and I went to it the opening weekend. Literally, there were 6 other people in the movie theater, and it was like a 7:30 or 8 o'clock show on a Friday night. Nobody went to see that movie. So
that was
an
you?
Awesome inspiration. Yeah, that was me. I am one of the 8 people that went to it. That's such a great movie, and what a great inspiration. And he's made some awesome films, so I'm really looking forward, not forward, to...
No, Thorward works. Thorward works.
Ragnarok. Thorward does work, sadly.
Am I pronouncing his name right, though?
As close as, if I can know. Taika Waititi.
Okay.
It works.
I don't know. Something else I saw confusing this week was... You've heard the phrase "jumping the shark," right?
I have. I have heard that.
referring to when a TV show gets to that one point where it goes, it's all downhill from here. Referring
Indeed.
to the episode of Happy Days when the Fonz got on water skis and did a water ski jump over a captive shark in a lake, and everyone went, yeah, the show's going to hell right after this episode, which it did. Now, I heard a synonym for the movie version of Jumping the Shark, which refers to Superman 2, throwing the S, which is when Superman somehow ripped his logo off and it turned into a big net that he captured. I think it was Zod or whatever the fuzzy guy's name was. I have purposefully blanked that scene out of my head. But have you ever heard throwing the S used as a term? Because that is completely new to me, and this is a movie from 1982. I should have heard it by now, right?
Never heard that. Okay. And that's an odd choice, considering some of the odd things that have happened in Superman movies. And I mean the ones with Christopher Reeve, like making the Earth's orbit reverse so he could turn back time for a day. You know, it was a cool thing, but it's like, really? Why don't you do that for every problem that you have, dude? I mean, you know, that kind of would fix a lot of things. So that was a terrible choice. Throwing the S, never heard that before.
I hadn't either. It was just, it came up in an article and I went, really? That's a term? Had not heard that before. Actually, I suppose we do have other good news because we're coming up this Friday. You will be able to get, for a perfectly legal digital download of Rogue One, you know, in your full 1080p, you can watch it on your own TV set at your leisure without other kids throwing popcorn in the theater. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's a good thing, but there was announced that there are not going to be any deleted scenes on the DVD or the Blu-ray. And the reason for that is that any scenes that they did delete, like clips from the trailer that we saw that didn't end up in the movie, were actually just parts of other scenes, and they decided to go with other ways of putting the movie together. So there really aren't any deleted scenes. There's deleted snippets. And they said none of them last for more than 10 seconds anyway. So we're not going to get any deleted scenes, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, you know what? There aren't any to have.
Well,
so I'm not too bad with that.
I'll call BS on that because there were stories that they shot hours and hours and hours, and I don't mean like 5 or 6 hours. I mean like 40 hours and 60 hours of footage, and not test footage, like actual filming. And that was one of the reasons they were getting kind of nervous because Darth Vader showing up at the end. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're not listening to us anyway, so shut up. Originally, he wasn't even that scene was not even going to be in the film. And that's one of the, oh my gosh, moments of the whole movie. He shows up at the end. So they were rewriting that damn thing on the fly all the time, and they were shooting things all the time. So, yeah, there could be 40 hours of of scenes in that. They just chose not to do it for whatever reason. And, you know, it's their right. It's not like they owe it to us.
I can probably tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is.
Tell me what you think it is. Because it's not like, oh, there's no deleted scenes. Yeah, there are.
They're waiting for several of the non-episodic episodes to come out. You know, the Han Solo movie, the Boba Fett movie, the Obi-Wan movie.
Bingo.
And they're going to release them in a massive 27-disc Blu-ray set.
Which will
come out
exclusive.
after everything is already out. That will have the exclusive deleted scenes,
which
will show up on YouTube. So you won't have to buy them anyway.
Which is quite true. But yeah, it's just a marketing choice, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to say, for them to imply that, well, there's no deleted scenes, it's like, oh, come off it. What, he shot 40 minutes straight through and knew exactly what he was doing, and there's nothing left over? Like, yeah. That's not how any movie works, especially not that movie. So, whatever. Just be honest and say, like you said, and I guarantee you that's exactly what it is. They're saving it for a better opportunity to make you really, really want it really, really bad.
Yeah. That's all it is. So there. I had this put to me on Monday after the show, after last week's show, because we were talking about who we would have to play, who are our favorite Sherlock Holmeses and our Doctor Who's and all that stuff. And I was talking with a friend of mine up the street. Hi, Garrett. He said that was a good segment, but he wanted to know who had been portrayed the most, which character had been portrayed the most in the history of TV and cinema. And I thought that's a cool cool thing to find out.
That is a cool thing.
So I found a top 10 list. I want to run through this real quick because some of the names on this list I wasn't expecting, and one of them doesn't have a number to go with it, because I actually have, through 2015, the number of times these characters were played. At number 10, Hamlet, 198 times.
That's a lot.
And if this is number 10, it's only going to get bigger. But we're about to come across something very interesting. Give me a minute. At number 9 is Sherlock Holmes at 254 times. Number 8, Abraham Lincoln at 263. And this is the one that gets interesting for me. Number 7 is Dracula with 274 times. Now, what goes along with this in the explanation that I found this information on was Dracula is the most often portrayed fictional character of all time. Now, I want you to now listen to the rest of this list and tell me if you think that he's the last fictional character on this list.
That's funny.
Number six is Hitler, who doesn't have a number to go with him. I don't know why, but they say that he's number 6. Number 5 is Napoleon at 337. Number 4 is God at 350 plus times. Number 3 is Jesus, who may or may not actually also be God, at 380 plus times. And you know what? I know some of you are thinking, Rob, are you saying God and Jesus are fictional? No. I'm saying number 2 is Santa Claus at 814 times. Wait a minute. Dracula was the most fictional character, but Santa Claus is on this list. I'm sorry. What? 814 times. But do you know who was number 1 on this list? Because I would have put, Jesus or Santa Claus or something. But it's not. It's the devil. Satan himself, 848 times through 2015. I'm sure it's been a lot more since then.
So there you are.
There you go. There's your list.
We live in the world we deserve. Satan is the most portrayed character in entertainment. And what does that tell you?
Yep.
It means it needs to be a Satan versus Santa Claus movie is what it means.
I thought there was most episodes of South Park.
Well, I'm talking about something with a big budget, like at least $6-7.
Ah, okay. So that'll be. Oh, you know what it is? Is one of them's going to be in the Godzilla suit, and one will be in the Kong suit in that 2020 movie.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Put Godzilla with the red hat and the little white puffy ball on the end of it. Ooh, we could make it a family of tribbles and have the Enterprise show up at the same time. Okay, so moving on to something else that was just not going to get us into trouble. You saw something about a musical this week.
I did saw something about a musical. Yes, I saw this week I saw what I think was the best musical of 2016, and it wasn't La La Land. It's a film called Sing Street, and it is available for streaming on your various sources. And it's just one of these small slice of life things. It's a kid growing up in Ireland. He's in late middle school and wants to start a band. He's 15. So actually he's in high school, whatever. And so he starts a band, and they start off, and they're awful because they're 15. And they gradually get better and better. And it's just it's a love story because he likes this girl who is much, much older. She's 16, and she has a boyfriend who has a car. But it's just a great, great story. The music it's set in the 80s. It's based on... Basically, they're doing initially they start doing covers of 80s stuff, but everything they write it fits a different pattern, a different genre of 80s music. And it's such a sweet, awesome, fun, great movie with amazing music. It's really, really good. Don't watch La La Land if you haven't seen it yet, unless you see Sing Street first. Sing Street is much, much better. And I'm not knocking La La Land. La La Land was good. Maybe like in the top 25 of the movies I saw last year. But if you're going to watch someone who can actually sing, don't watch La La Land, watch Sing Street. And again, terrific movie, just came out last year. And virtually no one saw it because it's just one of these little films. I also saw this weekend another musical, which I thought was also better than La La Land, although obviously this is another year. And it'll win a few Oscars for sure. Set decoration, easily. It'll probably win Best Score. Good chance it'll win Best Song. And it's this little thing that Disney decided to relaunch, like they're redoing all of their animated films. It's the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast. And very entertaining, just like we were talking about Kong, although I would not take the Beast against Kong. Kong would easily win in that fight. But Emma Watson plays Belle. She's terrific in it. Kevin Kline plays her father. Great, great cast. Luke Evans as Gaston. Gaston is fleshed out more in this than he is in the animated version, which, by the way, the animated one is still a better movie to me because that's just almost a perfect movie. I mean, it's nominated. That's just a terrific movie. But this is a really, really good sign that maybe they can pull this off, doing live-action versions. Oddly enough, for me, the one thing that didn't work, and then I'll get on to other things I loved about it, was the Beast himself. The Beast is CGI. And about halfway through, and it does a really good job of it, but about halfway through, I'm thinking, why didn't they just get Ron Perlman and throw that mask on him? Because
that would have been beautiful.
That would have been awesome. And just have someone dub the singing voice, that's fine. I mean, maybe he can sing. I doubt it. But that would have been awesome if they'd had Ron Perlman or, an actor in prosthetics and makeup. That would have worked better because it's still off just a little. Where CGI and the real people, it just doesn't quite work yet. We're not there yet. They're getting close. But that would have worked better. That being said, again, Dan Stevens did the voice of the Beast and the Prince before he becomes the Beast and, other things. He's very good. Again, as like I said, Emma Watson is awesome. Luke Evans is fantastic as Gaston. The biggest surprise to me, though, was Lumiere, because I didn't even realize who played Lumiere until they showed it on the credits. Even McGregor plays Lumiere, and he is amazing. And the big showpiece, of course, is Be Our Guest. And they really go big in this one. I mean, they literally turned it into like and most of you probably don't know the term, but the Busby Berkeley musicals, where they would have, dozens of models coming down these stairs, and they would shoot from overhead, and they're doing all these weird geometric patterns with the dancers. They have a sequence like that in Be Our Guest. They have a little homage to Singing in the Rain. I mean, it's just, talk about a showstopper. It's awesome. It is amazing. And Ewan McGregor is awesome as Lumiere. He's just fantastic. Emma Thompson.
It threw me off to
Mrs.
see him
Potts.
in like Moulin Rouge, because I'd always thought that.
Yeah.
To me, Ewan McGregor was Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And I don't go as far back as Trainspotting, although I have since. And then to see him in Moulin Rouge and go, holy crap, he can sing.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing I was really concerned about, was because you have Angela Lansbury and Jerry Orbach as Mrs. Potts and Lumiere in the original. And I was thinking, boy, how are they going to pull this off? But Emma Thompson is wonderful as Mrs. Potts. I mean, she captures that emotion, of course, in her song. And again, Ewan McGregor is just fabulous in no pun intended, as Lumiere. And I mean no pun intended, because as you mentioned last week, there's this this movie theater, this drive-in theater in Alabama, which refuses to show it because horror of horrors, there's gays in this movie. But, you know, I'm sure they were happy to show people being decapitated and disemboweled in Wolverine because that's part of the normal human experience, right? So Alabama movie theater, whatever you are, go to hell. You're idiots. Really, really, really fun, cool, awesome movie. Again, like me, like I said, if they had an actor in prosthetics and makeup playing the Beast, it would have been perfect. That threw me off a little bit. But other than that, I can't imagine how they could have done a better job than they did. There are more songs in this. There's more backstory. It actually fleshes out the story a little bit more. Just a really, really good, fun, definitely family film. And in general, it seems like audiences like it a little bit because it's only made, what was it, 160 million? So it's made 170 million at the box office. I think 350 worldwide. So it's made a few bucks, and it should, because it's really, really good. Definitely worth going to. I went in thinking, well, you know, hopefully it won't be awful. So it was really nice to see that. I think they absolutely, well, not absolutely, because again, CGI. But other than that, they nailed it. It was very, very good. Very well done.
You mentioned that theater in Alabama, and they said they banned it because there's a gay character. It's okay that Emma Thompson is going to be doing literal bestiality in the movie. That's okay, because this is Alabama. But
good point.
The problem
is there's
a gay character. That's your problem with the movie? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
people.
Issues. And again, I want to mention Luke Evans, the bad guy Gaston. He's a real bad guy, but he's so fun to watch. I mean, what a great part. So cool movie. Go watch it.
Beauty and the Beast. Let's see. New this weekend, has made $170 million. And this is opening weekend. The budget was $160. So anything from here on out is cheese. They win.
Oh yeah, they definitely win.
Kong is not. Well, every other movie took a hit. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Because Beauty and the Beast came out. Kong was second this week. Made $28.8 million. Oh darn! Although it's still, they've only made $110 million on it with a budget of $185. Uh-oh. I think they'll get there, but it's not going to be as much as they wanted.
They've added almost 150 overseas already too, so they'll make they're making their cheese.
Exactly. Logan was number 3 at $17.5 million, and they doubled their budget. They're fine. Get Out was number 4 at making $13 million, bringing it up to 10% of what they made, $133 million on a budget of $4.5 million. You win. Expect the sequel any time now.
And I didn't think it was a great movie, but it's a really good movie, and that makes me really happy that someone who tried to make something good, they tried to make something different, they did what they wanted to do, and hopefully they got a big chunk of the gross, because they deserve it. So, it would be Mr. Peel. So he can do about anything he wants to after this, because man, that is somewhat successful indeed.
Now, something that threw me off, because basically everything else on this list is what you would expect. The Shack was number 5, but Lego Batman's still going. The Belko Experiment was new this week, but still followed by Hidden Figures, John Wick 2, Before I Fall, and we go down a little bit, and Rogue One has crawled back up to number 14 and made another $500,000 this week, like it needed it.
Strange, isn't it?
Although weirdly, by the way, Moana is still on this list, which confuses me because that came out on DVD weeks ago.
Spring Break, maybe, didn't it? People thought, maybe people thought, Logan, by the way, probably will pass all the other X-Men movies for domestic box office by the time it's done.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it'll take the rest of the summer, but it should be the top X-Men universe film outside of a Deadpool, which still cracks me up. really? That's the number one grossing X-Men film, because it's really not an X-Men film. So,
no, it isn't. A cameo by Colossus.
Yeah.
And X-Man in the movie, and no nuclear teenage waste head, shaved head. What's her name? I've forgotten what her name is.
Negasonic.
She doesn't count.
No, she doesn't. Should have been Jubilee.
So yeah,
that would have been more fun.
I don't know that it would have worked with Jubilee, but okay.
Oh, you can't see Jubilee and Deadpool together? That totally doesn't work. But somehow they probably would make it work.
They'd make it a romance movie, and he'd be rescuing her at the end and doing also. No, that just got really weird. Sorry.
Yeah. That's probably why. Yeah. Let's not do that.
You do know she was a character that was not created in the comics. She was created for the 1990s TV series, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Which was actually, I'm going to ask you this because we remember the 90s TV series because it was at least vaguely, even though it was done by Fox, it had vague traces of some of the comics in it.
Yes, it did.
And that was fine. Do you remember the pilot episode for that, though, that came out a few years before?
That I do not remember.
X-Men?
That I do not.
There was you can find, I think you can find it on YouTube. Pride of the X-Men, Pride with a Y, because it's Kitty Pryde instead of Jubilee, and it was a different X-Men lineup, one that was actually more accurate to the books, and that was about it. This one you could kind of tell it was done by Fox. There were a lot of things in it that worked and a great many things that didn't, because for some reason Wolverine was from Australia, and we don't really know why, because even if you look at him in the books, he hadn't even been to Australia in the books at this point, but he is in this series for maybe they were channeling Hugh Jackman from the future. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's utterly bizarre. But, if you get a chance to watch it, I'm actually going to recommend it because you get a good laugh out of it. But there was enough in it to make you go, "Oh, this is wrong." Because even if you like the movies, you can look at this and go, "Yeah, this is almost wronger than the movies," but it's not. But it's done so horribly. In my mind, it's done so horribly that it's worth a good laugh. So.
I will say they accomplished their goal with Jubilee, because they got my daughter to watch it, and that's what they wanted. They wanted young girls to watch the X-Men, and mission accomplished, because that's her favorite X-Men, and she understands.
That's how DC got my girls, is with characters like Beast Boy.
Yeah, there you go. That's
although he was in the books. Go figure.
Yeah, Beast Boy is anyway. Thank God he hasn't made it to the big screen yet. Oh. It's only a matter of time. Yeah. And they'll have him cast by Justin Bieber. And they'll put him in with Nightwing, because that won't make any damn sense. And so they'll ruin the possibility of making a good movie. Because, Justin Bieber is Nightwing? No, I hope that doesn't happen. God, please. Bieber boy. Right. So, what else do we have this week? All I really have is a massive spoiler that I found for the new Alien movie. But we try not to do spoilers. Yeah, let's not do that. Do we really want me to go into this? Maybe you can hint about it. While you're pondering that, I did want to mention something. Yes. I watched War Dogs. Came out last year. Miles Teller, a hot young actor coming off of the Oscar-winning film that he was in a couple of years ago, and then decided to do a Fantastic Four movie and almost destroyed his career because he was in that piece of garbage. But he's a very good actor. And War Dogs has problems, and it's not because it's not a good movie. It's because Warner's decided to advertise it as a comedy. Because, Jonah Hill's in it, so of course it's going to be a funny movie, right? We all know that. The Miles Teller, yeah, he can be funny. It's like it's not a comedy. There are some funny things in it, and of course that's what they show you in the trailers. And again, how this ties in, because we're talking about trailers. We talk about trailers a lot. The studios do this so frequently, where they will take a film, and it turns out to be not quite the kind of film they thought it was going to be. So then they market it according to the kind of film that they expected it to be and the kind of film they think their audience wants to go see. So they will cut the trailer from whatever they can get to make it get the audience interested in it and make them think, oh yeah, this looks fun, I'll go see it. It's not that kind of a movie. Again, it's a good movie, it's worth watching, but it's really much more of a drama than a comedy. It's about two young guys in their 20s, and they kind of half stumble and half deliberately turn out to be arms dealers. Happened down in Miami. This is like 2006, 2007. And it sounds like it would be kind of a serious film, and it is a much more serious film than what they did. The first movie I remember this happening with, this is back in the 80s, and this movie made me think of it. So again, before I delve onto this, War Dogs, yeah, definitely watch it. It's a good movie, but go into it knowing it's a drama with some comedy. It's not a comedy, because otherwise you'll be pissed off, which is why it didn't really do well at the box office, because what's this? This isn't the funny movie I was expecting to see. Movie came out in the 80s with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was, he was at the top of his game. Everybody loved Richard Pryor back then, blah, 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 blah. It's a movie called Some Kind of Hero. And you think he's going to be, you expect this is going to be this great, hilarious comedy, blah, blah, blah. It's not. The poster even says, Richard Pryor is in a new kind of comedy about some kind of hero and some kind of mess. Well, the new kind of comedy he's in is a very serious drama about a guy who was held as a prisoner of war in Vietnam and coming back and readjusting and having to fight with the Department of Veterans Affairs about how he wasn't getting what he was supposed to get. He wasn't getting the benefits and all this crap. And he gets involved with a hooker. And yeah, oh my God, what a hilarious movie. Paramount insisted apparently that they insert some comedy scenes because it's Richard Pryor, so it's got to be a comedy. It's like you can say whether or not it was intelligent or a good choice to make a drama with Richard Pryor, but if that's what you've got, that's what you have to market it as. Same thing, The Razor's Edge. Bill Murray did The Razor's Edge, and it was his first drama, and because he wanted to stretch his acting chops, and it absolutely bombed because people wanted a comedy. But the studio just, if you don't want to make that film, don't make the film. But when you have the film in the can or on the hard drive these days, have the guts to say, okay, this is the movie that it is, instead of trying to lie to the audience and make them think, oh, this is a different kind of film. You'll love this film. It's like, just for Christ's sake, stop lying to the audience and give the filmmakers a chance to present what they've really done, instead of trying to hoodwink people into thinking, oh, you'll love this movie. This is no. There's 6 funny things in Some Kind of Hero and War Dogs. Okay, 8 funny things in War Dogs, but it's a drama. It's a serious film. Go into it expecting that, and the odds of you enjoying it are going to be much, much better than thinking, oh, this will be awesome. This is like Superbad, but with guns. It's like, nah, it ain't Superbad. So watch War Dogs. Go back in time and find Some Kind of Hero with Richard Pryor. I highly recommend that movie too. But this is the weepy kind of movie that Rob was referring to at the beginning of the show. So not exactly a crowd pleaser, but it is a very good movie. Also has Margot Kidder, which is cool. Back before Margot Kidder went insane. Sorry, Margot, but
yeah,
kind of did.
No, I remember seeing the trailer for War Dogs and thinking, oh, a goodie, another Jonah Hill comedy. But
exactly. It's exactly how they marketed it, and it's very, very far from that. Very far from that.
So I guess for them, putting out that comedy trailer would be them throwing the S, right?
Yes, that was throwing the S. So are we going to discuss, have you figured out how to discuss this somewhat spoilerific alien thing, or?
the best I can do is to say that there is no alien homeworld.
Ah, that's quite interesting.
That's as spoilerish as I'm going to get. I've got more details. But
right.
Boy, would it really screw up the movie if I
well,
and it's not going to screw up the movie, but at the same time, this is going to be what's going to come out in the movie is it's a major plot point, and it's going to be one of those things that make you go, oh, wow, okay, that happened. And if I tell you, you're not going to have that moment, and that's one of the things that's one of the reasons you go to the movies is to have those moments. So you can come out of the theater and go, wow, that was fun. You remember that moment when this happened? Let's go see it again. And it's not going to be as big because you already know what's going to happen. And I don't want to screw that up for you. So I will say this. The movie looks good. Go see it when it comes out in May. Actually, 2 months from today, May 19th. Woo! So there. How's that?
I love it.
Good way to end the show.
Beautiful way to end the show. There's your recommendation. 2 months from today, go watch this movie.
So, what other shows have you got coming up this week?
There will be Cover 32 Seahawks show on Tuesday. There will be Late Night Parents with the fabulous Ted Hicks on Wednesday. Potentially, supposedly, most likely, there will be Baseball Beer Barbecue on Saturday morning with special guest host Murph, which will be awesome because Lee is being a scoundrel and going on vacation. But I'm 90% sure it's not keyed on Murph, it's just keyed on other things going on. But hopefully that will be on Saturday morning. And you have things coming up as well. Yeah. You've got your Happy Hour Network. I've got the Coil Entertainment Network. There will probably be a FWAT show tomorrow where I'm going to talk about the administration that's going on. And then on Wednesday, 2 pages of mystery. In this particular episode, Lieutenant Cooper Reich investigates the death of a childhood friend who went into the personal security business in an episode called Always Greener. And that'll be fun. And, I mentioned our 2 networks, and we are now also on the Village Connection Radio Network. Woo! Or radio, or something like that. So, hey, there's another, oh dear. Lee has just gotten online, and our show is ending. We need to end quick before he calls in.
Yeah. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Ariel! Oopa! Ride!
Do you think they will let me live in Montana? I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
Man, we have a weird job.
It's shameful, but it's a living. Darn, that's the end.